Let's get to the 1 o'clocks from yesterday. Minnesota Vikings get the win over the Jags. 12-7. The Vikings get the win here, Sam.
12-7.
When we talk about fun stats and just wild developments, Vikings with 4 field goals here. Threw 1 million interceptions, all in the red zone. Jags had multiple opportunities to win, but they threw interceptions of their own. It was a banner day for interceptions. I never got an actual total, but after watching Sunday Night Football...
Well, Sunday Night Football on its own was responsible for most of them.
7 of their own on Sunday Night Football. But a game like this, where you had 5? Yeah, 5 between both quarterbacks. I didn't bring out the stat, but remember Sam Darnold and Mac Jones used to play each other in the AFC East, and they had games similar to what we saw here from a stat line perspective.
Yeah. We just finished the German game, should we read the tweet that's in German from our guy, Rene Bugner? The stat, essentially, so I'll read it in English first because the stat is interesting.
Do you know how to read German?
Yeah-ish. I did German for a couple of years.
You did German for a couple of years?
Yeah. Now, it was just like 15 years ago, and I didn't do it that well. But
good for you.
The Vikings are only the 8th team in NFL history to win a game in which they had 400-plus total yards and no touchdowns. So they're only the 8th team ever to rack up 400-plus yards, no touchdowns, and win the game, which in German apparently is Die Vikings sind erst das 8. Team der NFL-Geschichte, das ein Spiel gewonnen hat, bei dem sie 400-plus total yards und keinen Touchdown erzielt haben.
That's good. Good job, Sean Hockley.
I don't know how accurate it is, but it's there you go. There's a shot.
Can somebody check Sam's German here?
Well, Rene can check us. Hopefully he followed us over he used to listen. Definitely used to be a listener.
Angry drunken Germans in the chat. I'm sure he'll have
drunken Germans.
That's one of the people commented in the chat. He'll have some critiques for you.
Okay,
perhaps.
Cool.
Sean Hockley also called a false start in German yesterday.
He did.
And then,
which apparently is like a family tradition. I didn't know that Ed Hockley had done it in Spanish for the Mexico game.
That's what makes Scott Hansen and the Red Zone team so special. They were like, oh, let's dig up Ed Hockley speaking Spanish in 2005.
Oh, look, you're out here being fact-checked live on the show as well.
What'd I do?
Sean says Darnold and Mac Jones never played each other. Sam was gone by the time Mac got to New England.
Is that true?
Sean says it, so why would he lie?
That is true. I didn't fact check my own tweets. Where was this? Football Perspective. They played each other 2 times per Football Perspective, so this must be the second time.
Yeah, it was the first time was that a New England New York Jets game? Could they have played each other in Carolina?
Maybe in Carolina. Okay, so I did not misread the tweet. I misread the interpretation of it. Sam Darnold and Mac Jones have played each other 2 times, so including this. In those games, the QBs have combined for 1 touchdown, 9 interceptions, 2 lost fumbles, and 7 sacks.
Yikes.
How's that?
That's not great.
Thank you for the fact check. That is the fact, assuming Football Perspective is correct.
Somebody said, fan in Germany, that was an experience, which I'm going to read as a ringing endorsement of my pronunciation skills as opposed to a potential critique of how it sounded.
Good work, man. So anyway, this game was wild, right? Minnesota, this was reminiscent. Remember the game where Ryan Fitzpatrick's Bucks put up 500 yards against the Bears, Mitch Trubisky's Bears. I think this was the game Trubisky threw 5 touchdowns. Bears fans were like, see?
It's happening.
He's the guy.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, I didn't check it. I'm pretty sure he threw 5, maybe 6 touchdowns in that game, actually. No, I think it was 5. 38-3, something like that. The Bucks came out of the game with 500 total yards and only 3 points. The Vikings were on their way to something special like that. Darnold with 3 interceptions. 1 was on the fringe of the red zone, 2 in the red zone. Is that right? Finishes with the 3 picks. Could have been 4. But the Vikings survive because in their 2 comeback attempts, Mac Jones and the Jags offense, they kind of got something going early on, but they got very little out of the pass game. Mac Jones with 2 kind of prayers for interceptions. Cameron Bynum with the last interception and maybe the celebration of the year.
Yeah, he did the ray gun.
Outstanding.
Mm-hmm. That was impressive. I think certainly 2 of the 3. Were all 3 of the interceptions while targeting Justin Jefferson? From Darnold?
At least the one in the end zone where Jefferson
certainly 2 of the 3. I can't remember if the third one was. But it was wild. Like, it's such a bizarre game because it was close, and yet it really wasn't. Like, the Vikings were moving the ball at will. Their defense did a good job. They were forcing problems, and yet every time the Vikings got to within scoring position, Darnold found a way of turning the ball over and getting nothing for it. And then they ended up settling for these field goals. But like I tweeted at some point during the game, like, this is a win just waiting to be collected for Minnesota if they simply stop shooting themselves in the foot at any point in the game. It was insane how, like, insistent they were on causing that. And in the end, they required Travon Walker getting a ridiculous penalty to eventually seal it and give them the win.
Yeah, that was bad, man. I remember back in the PFF grading days when a player had such an egregious penalty. I forget the exact situation, but I think it was Washington and the Rams one year, and somebody had like a personal foul where, like, the game was over and the personal foul put the other team into field goal range. It was the only way they had an attempt at the game winner, and they got it. And it's like, how badly do you crush that lack of awareness? The Jags they basically force the Vikings to go 3 and out. They're going to have the ball punted back to them. Now, granted, if Mac Jones gets the ball back,
Right.
doesn't mean they're going to, lead a, game-winning touchdown, but you at least have that opportunity. And Travon Walker picks up a personal foul penalty, and it's over.
Did you watch the play, by the way? Like, not just the end of it. He was in there like Mike Tyson punching at the ball, trying to, like, force fumble. Like, some of the most, like, gung-ho, absolutely putting 110%, like Ryan Fitzpatrick throwing, but with punches, trying to get that ball out. Any of which could have been a penalty, because I don't think he was close to the ball at any point. And then eventually, I think at the end of it all, shoves a guy, and that's the thing that seemed to draw the foul.
Yeah.
But when you watch it back, it's like he's just punching the pile, like trying to create this forced fumble.
Yeah. We've talked about that every week. Like, players are really good at the peanut punch. You don't see a lot of the misses, though.
Well,
we see in slow motion. If you're really watching, sometimes this dude got punched in the face.
Except that now,
I
think because the peanut punch has become so successful and the forced fumbles have become so prevalent, people are just punching at everything now, whether or not it's the ball. Like, I forget who the player was, but somebody just started wailing at Josh Allen's head in a pile yesterday. Like, the first swing was vaguely near the ball. All of the subsequent swings were nowhere near it, and yet they just kept going. Someone at some point is going to get penalized for that.
Tyson's fighting this week, isn't he?
Certainly soon.
Him and Jake Paul?
Right.
Could somebody confirm? Is that Friday night? Did I see that?
Tyler will know.
I'm in the I know what's going on.
You know what's going on.
In the world?
In the world.
We should I'm correct.
We
should make picks on Thursday.
We should make picks for the fight.
Yes.
Okay. Geriatric Mike Tyson against influencer Jake Paul. For anyone keeping track,
WrestleMania performer Jake Paul.
Aiden Hutchinson is still 12 pressures clear of Travon Walker for the season.
I always kind of check it. He did get a sack late, so it's okay. He's got like 8.5 NFL sacks, NFL tracked sacks.
Walker.
Yeah, okay. So he's gonna end up with like a 12 sack season with 2 good games. Anyway, that was a poor finish by the Jags. They continue to it's losing football. It was also wild. They only ran like 44 plays from scrimmage. The Vikings.
Yeah, the Vikings had the ball the entire time, and almost all of it were moving the ball at relative ease, and then just kept turning the ball over.
Right. So they almost doubled the play count. So the fact that it was only a 5-point game was wild. As I said, 2-8 Jags now, 7-2 Vikings. They stay within a game of the Detroit Lions, and to me, survived.
Yes.
The other report that came out just before the game, Trevor Lawrence, we knew that he would have the left shoulder injury, might not be able to play. They're talking possible season-ending surgery now as well.
So, does Jay Gruden get redeemed if that eventually turns into
Remind
surgery?
Everybody what happened here.
Jay Gruden reported. He came out and tweeted. It was like, sources suggest Trevor Lawrence going to be done for the year with surgery, and he got fact checked by Ian Rappaport, who was like, "No, Jay, he's not. It's yet to be determined. He's in fact blah blah." It was basically like no surgery. He's leaning towards not playing, but he's getting further, whatever. Basically, he called him out. Was like, "Nope, not according to my sources." But if he ends up actually having to have the surgery and getting shut down, does that make Jay right?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Because clearly he got it from somebody. Or does your rap sheet saying, oh, no, proper protocol. They were just considering surgery. But what if Jay had just a better source that said absolutely surgery?
And his source probably wasn't directly from the agent who said, here's the spin to put on it.
Stupid agent spin. Also saw, like, Rap Sheet was, like, putting out Flacco stats from the last 3 games. It's like, well, he must not be friends with Flacco's agent.
Yeah.
Just put his stats out. He's friends with Anthony Richardson's agent because he was like, since Richardson's been benched, here's Joe Flacco's stats.
From the dead. See, that,
it's all dead giveaways, man.
All you need for every one of those insider tweets is simply a line that begins from the desk of to understand the context, right? So if it's negative, you just need to figure out, okay, who benefits from a negative tweet about this person going out? That's who the tweet's from.
Rap Sheet's friends with the Cars. He put that one out a couple of Derek Carr's injured. He really wanted to be out there for his teammates. He was working hard. He's going to rehab as hard as he's ever done, but he's just too hurt right now.
So from the desk of the Cars.
Yes.
Yeah.
From Darren Carr. All
In brackets, not born losers.
I got no more use for this game.
Okay. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.